Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and be the first to know when we drop a new video. Like and share with your fellow American patriots who love this country. And if you haven't even an American patriot, you are someone who believe and love freedom, love democracy, truth, and don't like corruption, hit the subscription button. You know, most people, black, white, yellow, purple, blue, support the police. The only people who do not support the police are criminals, people who are lawbreakers, but people who are upstanding, decent, and ethical citizens respect and love the police, because the police is there to protect us all. And as a former police officer myself, you know, that's a duty, and you're supposed to be doing your job without fear or affection, malice or ill will. But I'm going to let you watch a video. Yes, I'm going to let you watch a video, and my heart sank in disbelief, pain and overwhelming shame to witness a man lying on the ground, unarmed, not resisting, not even flinching, and then see police officers unleash a canine to rip into his leg, his calf, as if he were prey. It's not just disturbing, it's inhumane. There's no justification, no moral defense, no amount of training or protocol that can excuse that kind of cruelty. That wasn't policing, that was sadism in uniform. And what made it even more horrifying was the expression on the officers' faces. They weren't neutral, they weren't professional, they were gleeful. You could see it in their body language. The slight grins, the relaxed demeanor, as if they were enjoying the man's suffering, laughing in the face of his agony. Is that what it has come to now? That a man's flesh can be ripped apart like a chewed toy, while the ones sworn to protect life and uphold justice stand by and smile? What kind of person does that? What kind of soul finds joy in inflicting pain on someone who's already subdued, defenseless, and human? These are not actions of protectors of peace. These are the actions of tormentors. People who have no business wearing a badge or bearing the responsibility that comes with it. As someone who once wore the uniform with pride, I am ashamed, deeply ashamed, because those officers don't just dishonor their badge, they disagree that this man was not worthy to be treated as their equal, because he's not human being to them, he's other. They disgrace the very idea of justice. They stain every innocent law enforcement officer who tries to serve with integrity. To the man on the ground, I am sorry. I am sorry you were treated like an animal. I am sorry those who were supposed to defend your rights instead tore them apart. And to the public watching, if you are not outraged, if you are not shaken to the core, then we have truly lost our moral compass. This wasn't an arrest. This was abuse. This was evil. And it must not be forgotten. And it's really sad. So I'm going to let you watch the video for you to see for yourself. You watch, you listen, and you decide. Yes, I don't know, you know. Now take a moment. Just stop whatever you are doing. And you just watch it, you watch the video. What you will see is not policing. What you will witness is pure unfiltered evil. You will see a black man unarmed lying on the ground, not resisting. I don't know what caused him to turn. Because you can see, obviously you can see that he had nothing, because he had on a t-shirt, and yet the police officers stand over him like predators, and without any urgency or justification, they release a police dog to maul him. Not bark, not scare, but to sink its teeth into his flesh, right into his calf, while he writhes in agony. And they stand there watching, almost enjoying it. No attempt to pull the dog off, no concern for his humanity, no urgency to offer aid, just cold, callous indifference to the pain they have inflicted. What kind of people do this to another human being? What kind of soul looks at a subdued, helpless man and decide to make him suffer even more for sports? And yes, race matters here. This wasn't just an abuse of power. This was racial terrorism, a display of domination. This wasn't about law enforcement. This was about subjugation. And if you are afraid to say that out loud, then you are a part of the silence that lets it happen again and again. The police are supposed to serve and protect. That's the oath they swear. But what we saw in that video, what do you call that behavior? Serve and protect? No. This is serve and terrorize. This is why communities don't trust the police. This is why black parents have to give the talk to their children. Not about school, not about ambition, but about how to survive a police encounter without being killed or maimed. And 99% of the time, the police are justifiable, even when you can see that it's not justifiable. I support the police because I was a law enforcement officer, but I don't support the abuse and treating people inhumane. And the worst part, these police officers will probably go home, eat dinner, joke with their families, while the man they mutilated will carry that trauma for the rest of his life. If not physically, then spiritually and emotionally. To those officers, you are not defenders of justice. You are cowards in costume. You disgrace your badge. You desecrated the trust of your community. To the rest of us, if you are not outraged, if you can watch that video and not feel a burning shame, then you have lost your humanity. We must hold people like this accountable, not just to restore public trust, but because it's the right thing to do. Period. Enough is enough. So after watching the video, if you don't feel anything, not a lump in your throat, dry, not twisting in your stomach, not even a flicker of pain in your chest, then I'm sorry, but you are not truly alive. You may be breathing, your heart may be pumping blood, but your soul, that's gone. You're an empty shell existing but not living. What I saw in that video has left a permanent scar on my spirit. A black man, completely subdued, lying on the ground with no weapon, no resistance, no aggression, just vulnerability, and insisted that he hasn't done anything. And instead of exercising the duty to protect the officers, white men cloaked in state and sanctioned power release a police dog on him like he was a piece of meat. You could hear the screams. You could feel his pain. And what did they do? Nothing. They stood by. They watched. They enjoyed it. Let me be clear. This is not law enforcement. This is depravity in uniform. This is not public safety. This is public savagery. And any society that allows this kind of cruelty to normalize, excuse, or swept under the rug is not a civilized society. It is a failed one. You can't watch that video and pretend it's okay. You can't justify it. You can't hide behind procedures or training or he should have complied when the man was already lying there, powerless, armless, human. This is not just about race, but race play a heavy hand, because we all know keep down. If that man were white lying on the ground in khakis and button-up shirt, no dogs would have been let loose. So ask yourself, what kind of police officer see a man suffering and smile? What kind of human being listen to someone cry out in agony and feels nothing? What kind of nation let that pass without consequences? If your heart doesn't ache after seeing that, if your spirit isn't stirred with rage and sadness, then you are not a part of the human family. You are just another hollow being who became so desensitized, so consumed by apathy or hatred that nothing reaches you anymore. But for those of us who still feel, who still cares, we must speak, we must act, we must demand justice, not just for that man, but for every soul whose cries were ignored, whose pain was made a spectacle, whose humanity was denied by those in power. Because silence in face of this isn't neutrality, it's complicity, and I refuse to be complicit. So what we witnessed was not law enforcement, it was lawless cruelty. It was barbarism cloaked in a badge, and the world should be outraged. These police officers who swore an oath to serve and protect instead choose to humiliate and harm. They betray not only the man they brutalize, but their meaning of justice. They use their authority not to uphold peace, but to unleash pain for no reason other than their own twisted sense of power and pleasure. Their action have brought nothing but shame to the badge, shame to the institution, and shame to every honest officer who wears the uniform with integrity. Let it be known, when good people stay silent in the face of evil, they became a part of it. Watching the man suffer while lying on the ground, defenseless, not threatening, and seeing these so-called officers stand idle by while a dog tore into his flesh will haunt the conscience of every human being who watched this video and who still has one. And if you can see what kind of horror and feel no compassion, no rage, no sorrow, then you're not living, you are simply existing. Let us never forget that true justice has no room for cowards in uniform, no tolerance for abuse hidden behind policies, and no forgiveness for those who take pleasure in another human being pain. These officers do not deserve our respect. They deserve accountability, full, complete, and public. We are not demanding revenge. We are demanding human decency. We are demanding dignity. We are demanding justice, because anything less make us all complicit. Shame on every officer who stood there and watched. Shame on every system that shields them. And shame on any voice that dares to justify what we saw with our own eyes. This must end. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. Have yourself a beautiful day. And this was a very painful video to watch.